Every person is given a limited span of years. Each day passes whether it is lived with purpose or left in neglect. The Stoics reminded themselves of this reality constantly. They spoke of time as the most precious resource, one that cannot be replaced once lost. Wealth can be rebuilt. Health can sometimes be restored. But wasted life cannot be reclaimed. To waste life is to live without clarity, to spend hours on distractions, to trade the most valuable gift for what has no true worth. Seneca warned that people guard their possessions carefully, yet they let their time be taken without concern. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he was fortunate to wake again, and that the day should be spent in line with reason and virtue. Epictetus told his students that if they did not use their present well, they would not suddenly become wise in the future. The Stoics understood that life was fragile and uncertain. The only control we have is in how we use the present. This video will explore how to avoid wasting life. It will follow the guidance of the Stoics, dividing the lessons into clear chapters. Each chapter will focus on a principle that helps us live fully and with direction. These principles are practices to apply daily. They teach us to measure our days, to rise above empty pursuits, and to shape a life that is steady, meaningful, and grounded in virtue. Chapter 1. The value of time. The first step in avoiding waste is to understand the real value of time. Time is not just a tool for productivity or a means to an end. It is life itself, measured second by second. Every passing moment becomes part of the past, never to be lived again. People often act as if they have endless time. They delay important decisions. They procrastinate on meaningful work. They expect that another day will always be available. But each day that ends without purpose is a day removed from the total span of life. The Stoics viewed this casual treatment of time as a serious mistake. They trained themselves to remain alert to the passage of time, to see each hour as a test of judgment and values. Seneca wrote clearly about the misuse of time. He observed that people defend their wealth and property with great effort, yet allow others to waste their time freely. Time, once past, cannot be restored. There is no interest or repayment. It is either used well or permanently lost. A person can rebuild fortune, regain strength, or repair relationships. But time is the one thing that can never be returned once spent. This fact requires constant awareness. The failure to treat time with care is often the cause of regret, frustration, and a sense of emptiness. Time is not best measured in how many years a person lives. It is measured in the quality of their actions, thoughts, and intentions. A person may live to an old age and still fail to develop clarity or strength of character. Long life does not guarantee wisdom or peace. Another person may live fewer years, but fill them with purpose, integrity, and reflection. This kind of life leaves a stronger impact on both the individual and others. The Stoics believed that time must be used to grow in virtue. This was their standard. The quantity of life was less important than the direction and substance of each day. To understand time as valuable, one must treat each day as a full opportunity. Do not wait for weekends, holidays, or retirement to begin living. Each morning offers a clean start. Each evening offers a mirror. Ask yourself what the day was spent on. Did your actions match your personal values? Did you give your energy to what improves you or benefits others? Or was the day consumed by distraction, reaction, and habits that drain focus? Honest answers bring clarity. This kind of daily review can sharpen your awareness and guide your next actions. Without this process, it is easy to drift into routine and let time pass without intention. To treat time as a form of wealth, begin by protecting it. Avoid commitments that offer no benefit to character or reason. Limit the influence of entertainment, gossip, and shallow conversation. These are the quiet thieves of time. Make deliberate choices about where you focus, what you consume, and who you spend time with. Choose habits that build a sense of purpose. Create boundaries around your most valuable hours. Build routines that train your attention. Let silence and reflection be part of your daily rhythm. These steps will not guarantee perfect use of time, but they will create the structure to respect it. Time is a silent partner in everything you do. Every achievement, every failure, every decision is shaped by how time is used. Each day carries weight. Each hour counts. The Stoics trained themselves to see this clearly, to remember the fragility of life, and to live with urgency guided by reason. This mindset does not require great effort, only constant return. You wake up, you remember what is in your control, you act with purpose, then you reflect. This cycle builds a life that is alert, disciplined, and conscious of its course. That is the way to avoid waste. That is the way to live fully. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Tomorrow. Many waste life by waiting for the right moment. They tell themselves that they will begin tomorrow, that they will change when conditions are better, that they will pursue what matters after obligations lighten. This habit of delay is one of the greatest thieves of life. Tomorrow is uncertain. The Stoics repeated daily that death could arrive at any hour. To postpone living is to gamble with a future that may never come. Procrastination often disguises itself as preparation. A person may say they are waiting to be ready, waiting for inspiration, or waiting for a sign. But this waiting rarely leads to decisive action. The decision to wait becomes a pattern. Each delay becomes easier to justify. In the meantime, energy fades and intentions lose force. A person may look back after months or years and see that the decision they once planned to make still waits unmade. The Stoics warned against trusting in the future. They trained their minds to focus on the present because it is the only place where life occurs. They did not see the future as an enemy, but as unknown. Planning was useful, but it did not replace action. Seneca wrote that many people plan for living rather than live. They keep their dreams stored in the future while the present slips away. Epictetus advised his students to ask at each moment, "What prevents you from living according to reason now? If wisdom, discipline, and justice are worth practicing, why wait?" Conditions are rarely perfect. The world is always filled with noise, demands, and uncertainty. The person who waits for a flawless setting to begin living will never begin. Life is lived in the present, or it is lost. Hesitation often hides a lack of clarity or courage. The act of waiting delays the need to choose. It delays the need to take responsibility. A person may fear failure, embarrassment, or discomfort, and so they delay under the cover of preparation. This avoidance is easy to justify in words, but difficult to maintain under honest reflection. The Stoic approach was to begin. The first step does not need to be perfect. It needs to be honest. Without this step, no progress is possible. The illusion of tomorrow also weakens courage. When you believe there will always be more time, you avoid risk. You avoid the difficult choice that could build your strength. You put aside the honest conversation, the bold act, the commitment to change. In waiting, you lose both the day at hand and the habit of decisive action. The Stoics urged their students to live now, to speak now, to act now. Tomorrow is only an idea. The present is the only reality. Each day carries full responsibility. Each decision made today becomes part of who you are. When you begin now, even with a single action, you create evidence. That evidence shapes confidence. A pattern of beginning creates a character of initiative. This habit strengthens resilience and self-respect. It trains the mind to respond with effort instead of delay. The present becomes your training ground. To break the habit of delay, reduce the scope of the decision. Begin with what can be done within the next hour. Choose an act that supports your values. Avoid complex strategies when simple action is possible. The mind often uses complexity as an excuse to remain still. Direct movement interrupts this cycle. Each time you act when it is difficult, you make future action easier. Each time you delay, hesitation becomes stronger. The Stoics wrote of life as a constant preparation for death. This was not a dark or morbid reflection. It was a way to remain grounded. To remember that you may not wake tomorrow is to place greater value on what you say and do today. This awareness sharpens attention. It brings sincerity to your actions. It helps you speak clearly, act with meaning, and think without wasted loops. Do not expect the future to create clarity. Do not expect the passing of days to bring courage. These qualities are trained now. Each present moment holds enough challenge, enough complexity, and enough beauty to practice philosophy. The opportunity to live well is always available, but only in the form of the present hour. To live with purpose requires immediacy. The present moment holds all the opportunity that exists. To act now is to show that you recognize the weight of life. Delaying action, even briefly, allows hesitation to grow. Each delay trains the mind to wait. Each act trains the mind to move. Begin where you are, using what you have. Speak what is honest, even if your voice is uncertain. Do the task that aligns with your principles, even if the outcome is unclear. Clarity grows through repetition. Each repetition strengthens the link between intention and execution. The Stoics viewed action as the most reliable teacher. Philosophical principles are tested through experience. Thinking is useful when it leads to right action. Reflection is powerful when followed by correction, but nothing replaces the discipline of doing. To act is to engage directly with reality. It is to commit to the work of living with integrity. When you begin now, you face the tension between what is easy and what is right. That tension builds character. It cannot be studied from a distance. It must be faced. Delay is not always loud. It hides in daily habits. It appears as comfort, avoidance, or complexity. A task postponed today becomes easier to postpone tomorrow. A conversation avoided now grows heavier with time. Courage fades if it is not exercised. The mind seeks patterns. When you break the pattern of delay with deliberate movement, the mind adapts. Small decisions become strong anchors. One honest act reinforces another. One disciplined effort makes the next more likely. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move. Momentum weakens, doubt increases. The imagined barriers become larger than the real ones. Action restores proportion. It shows that what seemed difficult is often manageable. Movement sharpens focus. A few minutes of action carry more value than hours of hesitation. This is not about rushing. It is about committing to what must be done and beginning without ceremony. The mind becomes clearer through practice. Clarity is built like strength, through regular, consistent work. Each time you act in line with reason, you reduce inner conflict. You align your thoughts with your behavior. You prove to yourself that you are capable of responding to life with steadiness. This is how a grounded character is formed. It is not the result of talent. It is the outcome of daily effort. The Stoics believed that clarity and strength were earned through steady repetition. They did not rely on inspiration. They built systems of action. Morning routines, daily reminders, evening reflections. These were tools to keep attention fixed on what matters. Through these practices, the mind was trained to respond with discipline. With enough repetition, a person becomes able to meet any hour with the same focus. The urgent hour and the calm hour receive the same response, clear thought followed by deliberate action. The illusion of tomorrow disappears when you face the truth of today. The present does not wait. It continues forward with or without your decision. You are either active in shaping it or passive in letting it pass. The truth is clear. You are alive now. You can think clearly now. You can act according to your values now. No condition needs to change. No special moment needs to arrive. The ability to live well exists within this hour. This is the ground of Stoic life. This is the path that prevents waste and builds strength. This is how a person honors the time they have been given. Chapter 3. Guarding against distraction. Distraction is one of the most common ways life is wasted. It often enters quietly and spreads across the day without notice. People lose hours in idle talk, in gossip, in endless streams of entertainment, in chasing approval, and in debates that serve no real purpose. These activities often appear light or harmless. They feel like temporary diversions. But when measured across days, months, and years, they reveal a deep cost. Time is lost. Focus is weakened. Mental energy is drained. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that we must not waste what remains of life in being occupied with the misdeeds of others or in endless speculation. Many distractions begin with a desire to escape discomfort. A task may feel difficult, so a person turns to their phone. A thought may feel unclear, so a person enters a conversation that offers no solution. These moments train the mind to avoid rather than address. They build a habit of withdrawal. The more this habit is repeated, the more fragmented a person becomes. Focus is no longer trained. Attention becomes scattered. The result is a life filled with noise and low return. To live without distraction requires discipline of attention. This discipline is not automatic. It is developed through practice. The Stoics trained their minds to remain with what was essential. They filtered noise from signal. They did not treat all information as equal. They resisted the pull of trivial matters and focused on the actions that matched their values. A person who builds this capacity becomes effective. They do not react to every alert, invitation, or opinion. They pause, they consider, they choose. The discipline of attention begins with awareness. Notice when your focus drifts. Ask whether the shift was chosen or automatic. Track which environments trigger distraction. Identify which inputs consume large amounts of time with little benefit. Once these patterns are seen clearly, they can be interrupted. This interruption creates space to choose differently. Practical steps can protect against distraction. Begin with physical environment. Keep devices away during periods of focused work. Limit notifications to the essential. Use tools with intent rather than habit. Set clear boundaries for conversation. Know when to speak and when to withdraw. Avoid talking about what you cannot change. Keep the early morning free from digital input. Direct that time toward reading, writing, or reflection. This sets the tone for the rest of the day. Entertainment, if chosen without limits, becomes a mental drain. It offers stimulation, but weakens presence. The Stoics did not reject enjoyment, but they believed pleasure should serve recovery, not control the schedule. Watch your relationship with entertainment. Schedule it like rest. Make it distinct from distraction. Do not let it blend into work hours or reflective moments. Public opinion can also be a distraction. The desire to be seen, liked, or praised draws attention outward. It becomes difficult to act clearly when attention is divided between the task and the imagined response of others. The Stoics trained themselves to be indifferent to reputation. They focused on whether the action was right, not whether it was seen. This mindset protects against the distraction of approval. Keep reminders visible that life is short and that each moment should serve growth or virtue. These reminders anchor the mind. A short phrase on a wall, a daily reading, or a clear journal entry can return your attention when it drifts. External reminders support internal clarity. They signal that your time matters and your life deserves focus. Train your attention through repetition. Choose one task, complete it fully. If the mind wanders, return it without judgment. Each time you return, you build strength. Each undistracted session adds to your depth. Attention is a muscle. It is developed through use. Distraction weakens it. Discipline builds it. By training focus, you preserve life. You reduce the space for regret. You use each hour to support the person you are becoming. The Stoics did not chase novelty. They cultivated presence. They gave their full attention to what they could control. This approach created depth. It gave their actions weight. Each undistracted day builds strength of mind and steadiness of character. This is the quiet power of focus. It does not seek reward. It serves reason. Chapter 4. Choosing worthy pursuits. A life is not wasted simply by avoiding error. It is shaped by what one chooses to pursue. Avoiding mistakes does not equal growth. Purpose is found in what fills the day, not just in what is prevented. Many spend their years chasing wealth, status, or pleasures that never satisfy. These goals create constant effort, but little peace. They require ongoing input and deliver short bursts of gratification. Each gain must be followed by another to sustain the feeling. This cycle demands attention but provides no lasting foundation. The Stoics did not deny the use of wealth or comfort, but they taught that these were external and beyond full control. They are unstable. They change with fortune. To base life on them is to build on sand. A worthy pursuit is one that strengthens the soul, that aligns with reason, that builds justice, courage, discipline, and wisdom. Clarity about direction reduces waste. If a person does not define what they are aiming for, their energy is spent on temporary desires. A day may feel productive, but without a guiding aim, the results do not endure. Goals that align with external outcomes shift with circumstances. Goals rooted in virtue remain consistent. They guide decision-making even in hardship. The Stoics held that virtue is the only true good. Everything else can be used well or poorly. The aim must be internal stability and ethical clarity. Without this, pursuits become distractions. Ask yourself what aim directs your life. Examine your decisions to see what they support. If your goal is applause, you are at the mercy of others. If your goal is pleasure, you are at the mercy of chance. If your goal is virtue, you hold power within yourself. The Stoics made virtue the highest pursuit. They did not seek fame or comfort as ends. They valued the development of the rational mind. They believed the soul was shaped by habit and decision. In every action they asked, does this strengthen my character? Does this serve justice toward others? Does this align with reason? When the answer was yes, they acted without hesitation. Worthy pursuits create order. A person with clear values does not need constant direction. Their path is already formed by the principles they have chosen. They know which tasks to accept and which to refuse. They do not measure success by outcomes they cannot control. They measure it by whether their behavior matched what they knew to be right. This brings calm. It allows a person to act steadily under stress. It builds consistency. There is less internal conflict and more focused energy. Life feels directed. To choose worthy pursuits is to live with unity. Your efforts align instead of scattering. Your thoughts support your goals. Your actions reinforce your values. Each decision builds toward the same aim. The result is a life that feels steady and directed. There is less wasted motion. There is less contradiction between what is believed and what is done. The wasted life is one of constant turning, chasing one desire after another without lasting result. The worthy life is consistent, guided by principle, and at peace even in difficulty. Worthy pursuits make every day a step toward strength. Chapter 5. The Discipline of Reflection. Life is wasted when it is lived without examination. Without review, mistakes repeat. Habits remain unchecked. Lessons are missed. To repeat the same errors each day without correction is to lose years in blindness. The Stoics made reflection a daily practice. They treated it as necessary, not optional. They reviewed their actions in the evening, asking where they acted with clarity and where they failed. Seneca wrote that he examined himself each night, recalling what he had done, said, or thought. By facing himself honestly, he improved with each day. Reflection gives shape to life. Without it, days blur together. One action becomes indistinguishable from the next. With it, patterns are revealed, weaknesses are exposed, and progress is measured. A journal, a moment of silence, or an honest conversation can serve this purpose. Each method works when applied consistently. The method is less important than the habit. The aim is to bring awareness to life, to make each day part of a conscious path rather than a random drift. The process of reflection should be simple. Begin with clear questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What could I have done differently? These questions guide the mind toward clarity. They allow a person to separate reaction from intention. Reflection does not require hours. A few minutes of honest review can redirect the next day. What matters is truthfulness. Without it, review becomes justification. With it, it becomes correction. Consistent reflection helps reduce repeated mistakes. When errors are left unexamined, they become embedded. When seen clearly, they can be addressed. The Stoics believed that self-observation is part of growth. They did not expect perfection. They expected honesty. Mistakes are part of life. Repeating them without effort to learn is a choice. Reflection gives the mind a mirror. It allows the person to study their own patterns and adjust. This discipline also strengthens gratitude. When you reflect, you see the gifts of each day. You notice where fortune has favored you, where friends have supported you, where you had the chance to act with virtue. Gratitude prevents waste by reminding you that life itself is rare and precious. It helps balance judgment. Without it, reflection can become harsh. With it, it becomes complete. It reminds you of what is going well, of what has improved, and of what continues to support your effort. Gratitude also sharpens perception. It draws attention to what might otherwise be ignored. A small kindness, a quiet success, or a moment of peace becomes visible. These details create meaning. They reinforce that life is not only shaped by major events, but by consistent acts of integrity, awareness, and presence. The practice of reflection also trains responsibility. It removes excuses. It shifts the focus from external blame to internal assessment. The question becomes, what was within my control and what did I do with it? This question returns the person to Stoic principles. It restores the sense of agency. Life is not shaped only by what happens. It is shaped by how one responds. Reflection builds that response. Reflection creates a record of progress. When kept in writing, it provides evidence of change. It helps identify which habits have strengthened and which have weakened. It shows how the mind has developed across months and years. This record supports consistency. It helps when motivation drops. It reminds the person of what they have already overcome and what they continue to build. In this way, reflection turns each day into a teacher. It gives feedback, it sets direction, it supports correction, it strengthens values, it deepens understanding. It helps maintain clarity when the world becomes noisy. It helps maintain calm when life becomes unstable. A person who reflects daily becomes more deliberate. They waste less, they complain less, they focus more, They begin to measure their life by what matters, not by what distracts. The result is a life lived with direction and depth, guided by principles rather than pushed by impulse. Chapter 6. Discipline in Daily Living. The Stoics believed that daily discipline was the foundation of a strong and focused life. Without consistent habits, the mind drifts, purpose fades, direction weakens. Discipline is the link between principle and action. It turns values into choices. It gives structure to life even in uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mark of a strong character is the ability to hold a steady course, no matter the external pressure. Daily discipline makes that steadiness possible. Daily discipline is not limited to physical effort. It begins with the discipline of thought. Mental discipline shapes how a person sees the world, how they respond to events, and how they act in situations that test their values. The mind must be trained to observe without judgment, to pause before reaction, to hold to reason in the face of impulse. This requires deliberate practice. Without that practice, thought is pulled by emotion, habit, or external pressure. Clarity fades. Action becomes reactive. Each morning becomes an opportunity to set intention. This is a moment to remember what matters. It is a checkpoint. A few minutes of reflection at the start of the day can define the quality of the hours that follow. The mind is most quiet before the world begins to demand its attention. That quiet can be used to align your thoughts with your purpose. It can remind you that your time is limited and your responses are a reflection of your principles. Each evening becomes a space for review. It allows you to examine your choices, measure your effort, and adjust your future behavior. These simple rituals shape the inner environment. They give you feedback. They help you close the day with order. This rhythm between morning intention and evening review strengthens awareness. It creates stability. The mind is less likely to be caught by confusion when it has already been taught to observe, to pause, and to reflect. The Stoics taught that discipline applies across all areas of life. It is reflected in speech, in decision-making, in how one responds to frustration, in how one chooses rest, and in how one manages time. Discipline is a full life practice. It does not stop with external habits. It includes tone of voice, use of silence, attention to detail, and control of reaction. It is active even when the person is alone, especially in thought. Each inner decision has an outer result. Small decisions, when made with consistency, shape identity. A person becomes what they repeat. Waking early, avoiding gossip, maintaining silence when emotions rise. These are simple examples of choices that build self-command. Each choice strengthens the ability to hold a steady posture. These actions do not require special skill. They require will. They are not dramatic, but they add weight to a person's sense of control. Structure supports freedom. It creates predictability. When the day has order, the mind is less scattered. Tasks are completed with less friction. Attention stays with the task longer. Interruptions become easier to manage. Emotion is less likely to dictate behavior. The person is not pulled constantly by what is urgent. They return to what they chose. A disciplined life allows space for reflection, for depth, and for peace. It does not mean rigid control. It means deliberate design. Each hour has a place. Each decision carries intent. Each behavior builds character. Discipline also allows for recovery. When the body and mind are trained, they recover faster from setbacks. Failure does not create collapse. It becomes a signal to return to the path. This is possible because the structure already exists. The person does not need to create a plan in the middle of stress. They return to what they already trained. This makes discipline a source of strength, not strain. To train discipline, begin with a repeatable act. Make it small. Anchor it to a specific time or place. Do it regardless of mood. If it is difficult, do less of it, but maintain the pattern. The goal is consistency. Discipline builds through reliable repetition, not through rare intensity. Track it, review it, then add another. Build a chain of actions that support your character. Each act reinforces the next. Discipline compounds. It creates momentum. A person who maintains consistent action through difficulty grows resilient. They develop confidence rooted in effort. They are not controlled by how they feel in a moment. The Stoics saw this as central. The disciplined person does not depend on motivation. They depend on their system. They use discipline to guard their life from waste and disorder. This system becomes a quiet source of order. It supports them when energy drops. It restores clarity when emotion rises. It reduces chaos by removing unnecessary choices. Each part of the day serves a purpose. This kind of life, built through effort, becomes its own reward. The person does not need to seek control. They already live within it. Chapter 7. Saying no with clarity. Saying no is an essential form of self-protection. A person who cannot say no is vulnerable to distraction, resentment, and depletion. The Stoics believed that boundaries were necessary to preserve time, focus, and values. They did not chase every invitation or respond to every demand. They made choices based on reason, not impulse or social pressure. Saying no begins with knowing what you stand for. Without clarity on values and priorities, decisions are reactive. When you are clear on your priorities, it becomes easier to see what falls outside of them. You begin to filter requests by their alignment with your goals. You do not need to overthink each decision. You measure it against your purpose. If an activity weakens your discipline, consumes your time, or disturbs your peace, it deserves review. A clear no protects what matters. Each choice carries a cost. Saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else. A person who gives their time away without evaluation loses space for reflection, depth, and direction. Many people say yes to avoid discomfort. They fear disappointing others or missing out, but each unnecessary yes leads to a delayed no elsewhere. Time is finite. Each agreement consumes attention and energy. A few careless commitments repeated often shape the structure of your life. The Stoics trained themselves to measure the cost of each decision. Marcus Aurelius asked whether the thing pulling his attention was truly essential. If it was not, he let it go. Saying no is not a matter of personality. It is a matter of practice. A person becomes skilled at saying no by observing the results of saying yes. If a task leads to distraction, loss of focus, or internal resistance, it signals misalignment. Saying no removes the burden of regret. It prevents scattered effort. It keeps energy centered on what builds strength. It protects time from erosion by the trivial. To say no with clarity, speak simply. Avoid explaining too much. Avoid emotional reactions. Let the decision stand on its alignment with your principles. The decision should reflect your values, not your moods. Simplicity creates strength. A short and honest response preserves trust and removes confusion. When you state your no without apology or excess detail, you make space for stronger commitments elsewhere. The goal is not to be rude or distant. The goal is to guard your inner life from waste. A person who protects their time and energy can give more value when they do choose to engage. Their presence is stronger. Their actions are cleaner. Their effort is full. Saying no creates the space for this full effort. Practice saying no by reviewing where your time goes. Write down your daily actions. Look at which commitments add strength and which drain it. Study what brings clarity and what increases mental noise. Withdraw from what scatters you. Make fewer agreements. Say yes to fewer things. Each yes must support something you believe in or strengthen something you are building. Use the time you recover from saying no for deeper work, silence, study, physical training, or acts of care. Fill that space with what reflects your highest standards. This contrast teaches the value of selectivity. It shows that when life is filtered, it gains intensity. Each time you say no to distraction, you say yes to something stronger. This clarity builds with repetition. The mind learns to detect distractions earlier. The voice becomes more confident in refusal. The habits become sharper. A disciplined life is built through these small, firm decisions. It is not built by rare inspiration. It is built by guarding attention and eliminating what dulls focus. Saying no is a daily form of discipline. It protects the structure of your time. It reinforces the path you chose. It makes sure your hours reflect your judgment. Without this practice, life becomes crowded. With it, life becomes clean. Fewer decisions, stronger action, clearer thought. This is what the Stoics practiced. This is how they made space for reason and virtue to lead. Chapter 8. Strength in Stillness. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of clarity. It is a state in which the mind is settled, focused, and undisturbed. The Stoics valued stillness as a sign of inner strength. A still mind can see clearly. It does not panic. It does not chase or run. It remains firm while events change. Stillness is a skill that requires cultivation. It is not reached by accident. It comes through deliberate practice. The ability to hold the mind in one place, to remain aware without being pulled, is a discipline. A still mind can observe a situation without rushing to judge or react. It can remain steady while pressure rises. It can separate signal from noise. Many people seek stimulation constantly. They fill silence with noise. They fill pauses with distraction. They check their phones. They open new tabs. They refresh information that has no bearing on their lives. This weakens attention. It scatters thought. It makes the mind reactive. Each piece of input demands energy. Each interruption fragments focus. The result is a mind that is full but uncentered. Stillness trains the opposite. It builds presence. It teaches the mind to remain where it is, rather than escape. A person who practices stillness becomes more aware of how often the mind wanders. They begin to notice the pull of thought, the craving for distraction, the constant shift away from what is essential. By returning attention to the present moment, they sharpen their control. Stillness can be practiced. Begin by removing noise. Spend part of the day without input. Sit without music, screen, or task. Let the mind rest. Observe the thoughts that rise. Let them pass. Do not fight them. Do not follow them. Just return to stillness. This trains the mind to let go of what does not matter. Practice stillness in small windows. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Walk without your phone. Eat a meal without media. Do one task with full focus. Remove optional inputs. Block time for solitude. Use your breath as an anchor. Let your attention rest on one point. If it wanders, bring it back gently. Each return builds the habit. Stillness grows through repetition, not intensity. The Stoics used journaling, solitude, and quiet reflection to create stillness. They used walking, breathing, and attention to physical sensation to ground themselves. These practices help the mind remain centered when life becomes loud. A person who has trained in stillness can carry peace into activity. They can act clearly under pressure. They can speak with precision. They do not rush. Stillness strengthens response. It places a pause between stimulus and action. This pause gives space for reason. It slows emotion. It reduces error. A still mind does not follow fear or anger without reflection. It evaluates, selects, and proceeds. This habit of restraint creates stability in the person and calm in their environment. Stillness is not passive. It is strength held in reserve. It is clarity without tension. It is presence without distraction. Each moment spent in stillness deepens self-knowledge. It reveals what drives you and what disturbs you. With this awareness, you gain choice. You learn to respond with calm. Stillness protects against waste. It gives each action depth. Stillness also protects the nervous system. It reduces reactivity. It lowers the noise inside the mind. This allows for clearer thought, better memory, and sharper focus. It strengthens emotional control. A person trained in stillness is less shaken by insult, less pulled by mood, and more capable of sustained attention. Stillness supports all other disciplines. It allows reflection to deepen. It makes morning preparation more effective. It makes evening review more accurate. It creates space for true rest. Without stillness, even well-ordered actions lose their clarity. With stillness, even simple acts gain purpose. To build a life with fewer distractions and more presence, train stillness. Begin with one act each day that requires no input. Sit, breathe, walk, or write with no external noise. Extend the practice as your capacity grows. This practice adds little to the schedule, but much to the mind. Stillness is space. Stillness is order. Stillness gives life depth. Chapter 9. Resisting the pull of comparison. Comparison wastes life. It draws the mind outward. It focuses attention on what others have, what others do, and how others are perceived. It creates a cycle of distraction. The mind begins to evaluate worth based on external markers. Time is spent analyzing other people's lives rather than building one's own. The Stoics saw this as a major source of disturbance. It causes envy, restlessness, and self-doubt. It shifts focus from action to appearance, from values to image. Comparison also distorts judgment. It can make progress feel inadequate and success feel invisible. It can cause a person to abandon their own standards in pursuit of someone else's approval. This weakens purpose. The person begins to imitate instead of think. They copy results instead of strengthen principles. This leads to confusion. When you live by someone else's goals, your actions lose direction. The Stoic approach to comparison is simple. Return to what is yours. You do not control how others live. You do not control their success, their fortune, or their reputation. You control your judgment. You control your actions. You control your effort. These are the only proper measures of your life. This approach removes wasted motion. It shifts your focus back to what can be shaped. Your habits, your routines, your inner life. These are the materials you work with. If you act with discipline, you improve. If you respond with reason, you grow. If you remain committed to your principles, you stay aligned. This path requires no reference to anyone else's progress. To resist comparison, practice presence. Return attention to the work in front of you. Direct your energy to the task at hand. Focus on the quality of your actions. Measure your day by how well you followed your principles. Did you stay disciplined? Did you think clearly? Did you act with self-command? These questions provide more value than asking how you rank among others. Avoid environments that feed comparison. Social media, gossip, rankings, and judgment. Heavy conversations create artificial pressure. Step away from information that creates jealousy or agitation. Curate your inputs. Simplify your feedback. Choose sources that reinforce values, not vanity. Choose influences that support action, not appearance. Train the mind to remain with what it can affect. When the thought of comparison arises, let it pass. Do not follow it. Do not engage the emotion it produces. Return to reason. Return to your purpose. Remind yourself that your path is your responsibility. No one can walk it for you. No one else's success prevents your progress. You do not need the world to lose for you to improve. Your growth stands alone. Build self-respect through private victories. When no one sees, still act with clarity. When no one rewards you, still follow your process. These repetitions create integrity. They teach the mind that effort is its own reward. This shields the mind from dependence on praise and attention. The person who acts without needing recognition becomes hard to shake. By focusing inward, you preserve energy. You stop wasting thought on what lies outside your command. You develop peace with your current place. This peace allows for movement. It clears distraction. It brings dignity back to effort. The Stoics believed that comparison was noise. Silence it, and you return to your own life. You become capable of deep work. You find satisfaction in small improvements. You stay committed through boredom and fatigue. You stop measuring by results that shift with luck or trend. You begin to build a life that is stable in its foundation, a life measured by effort, reason, and alignment. This is how comparison is resisted, not by fighting others, but by training yourself to stay rooted in what is yours. This focus is the source of calm. This focus removes pressure. This focus brings the mind home. Chapter 10. Ending each day with purpose. Each day is a unit of life. Once lived, it cannot be taken back. What is done, said, or thought in the course of that day becomes part of the record of who you are. The Stoics treated each day as a full expression of their values. They did not wait for the right season to live with strength. They saw each sunrise as an opportunity to train the soul. They began each morning with intention and ended each night with review. This rhythm formed the foundation of their practice. Ending the day with purpose means asking clear questions. Did I live according to reason? Did I act with courage? Did I speak with honesty? Did I serve justice? These questions give shape to the day. They draw attention to conduct. They highlight what was within your control and how you responded. They prevent drift. They turn life into a path rather than a series of scattered steps. Seneca wrote that he questioned himself each evening. He looked at his thoughts, words, and deeds. He studied where he had improved and where he had slipped. This habit refined his character. Each review became a step toward self-mastery. This is the daily return that Stoicism requires. Without this return, life becomes reactive. With it, life becomes structured around correction and refinement. Evening reflection works best when it is quiet and simple. Remove distractions, slow the pace. Write or sit in stillness. Walk in silence if needed. Review your actions without exaggeration or excuse. Identify specific moments that tested your values. Notice what prompted clarity or disorder. Make the goal understanding, not blame. The mind strengthens through this process. The purpose of reflection is to realign. If the day was lived well, it strengthens confidence. If it was lived poorly, it reveals what must be corrected. Either result supports growth. What matters is the attention, the act of facing yourself. By reflecting, you take ownership of the day. You turn experience into instruction. You prevent waste by studying cause and effect. When practiced consistently, this habit creates mental order. It closes each day with structure. It clears mental noise. It allows sleep to begin without unresolved tension. It sharpens your ability to improve. You learn what decisions led to progress and which ones led to weakness. This makes change easier. Reflection exposes patterns. It turns isolated events into a larger picture. End each day with silence. Review your actions. Record your lessons. Prepare your mind for rest. Do not carry anxiety forward. Do not hold judgment. Carry only what is useful. Close the day with clarity. Begin the next with focus. This is how to build a life that wastes nothing. When the end of life comes, it will be made of days. If each day was trained in discipline, guided by reason, and closed with reflection, the life as a whole will carry weight. You will know that you acted with care, that you responded with thought, that you worked on yourself without pause. This is how the Stoics lived. This is how they avoided regret. Each day is a tool. Each review sharpens it. The habit is simple, the effect is deep. Begin, observe, record, adjust, repeat.